How's it going, everyone? It's Gavin from Balls to You, and in this video it is going to be a review on some different substrate that you guys have noticed I've been using. So stay tuned and let's cue that intro. As the title suggests, this is going to be a substrate review. Substrate review. You guys know I'm an avid paper type guy, plain paper, and I still stick by that 110%. However, I have been wanting to try this substrate because I've had a few people sort of mention it to me. So I've been giving it a whirl now. I'm about 4 weeks in. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons, and you guys know I don't BS around things. I'll give it to you straight, and then it's up to you guys to see whether or not you want to carry on and use this substrate. So stay tuned. Let's take a look. So this substrate that I'm using is actually a coconut husk. This is a bedding by Tropibed. And it comes in roughly around about a 50-litre block that you obviously break down. Now, the way I do it, I put it in a plastic tub like so. The brick fits straight in there, and then obviously I soak and submerge it in water. I don't fill the water all the way up to the top. All I do is basically just cover it with water, and as it breaks down I add a little bit more water just so it breaks it all up, because obviously it is a compressed dried block. Now, as you can see, this is sort of the finished product, which is quite nice. Like I said, I've been trying it now for around about 4 weeks, and what I've done, I'm going to show you an animal that's been on the bedding for 4 weeks, just so you guys can get a general feel and idea of how long it lasts. Now, the reason why I'm trying this is because they do say that this holds humidity very, very well. There's a few other aspects that, let's face it, this does look more appealing in your racks or in your vivarium or whatever you're keeping your animal in. And this is quite versatile, so you can use this in a lot of different species of reptile, so it is pretty good. I will put a link in the description to the website so you guys can have a look and see for yourself what they use it for. The other good thing with this, obviously, once you've finished using it, you can put it in the garden and on the compost heap, which apparently if you're a gardener, is quite good. As you can see, it does dry out, and if I just get some wet stuff, there's the wet stuff. It has got a sort of a smell to it, like an earthy smell, which is to be expected with any type of bedding really of this nature. Why am I using it? Well, first and foremost, I was quite intrigued, more so with I was told how good it was at absorbing smells. This sort of bedding would be ideal if you've got your rack systems in a house or in a particular area where smell is a problem. And let's face it, snakes, when they wee and make a mess, it does create a smell. So this stuff is really ideal. With that in mind, obviously, it depends on you as a person. Now, I'm not saying to you I would personally go from paper to this. It's down to your personal preference. Does it hold humidity slightly longer? Yes, it does. Does it dry out, and can you get bad sheds? Yes, you can. So you've still got to stay on top of it. You've still got to spray it down. And what I do see a lot of people making a mistake with this stuff is they absolutely soak it in water, which isn't a good thing, because you've got to imagine it is thicker than paper, okay, and it takes a lot longer to sort of get warm and sort of get to that nice feel. Remember, these animals, and we're talking ball pythons, don't live in damp conditions, so you've got to be mindful of that. You want it just right, so it's good humidity, so you've got a bit of a mixture of both dry and wet substrate in there. So you do see people with coconut bedding absolutely drowning it in water. It's not a good thing, guys. and I have known respiratories, and I have heard of other issues with coconut husk that it can bring to light. So a nice even balance between sort of like a damp and a dry is fine. Again, you will have to keep on top of it when your animals are shedding, and you will need to hose it down, or spray it down, should I say, when an animal is in shed. It does raise the humidity pretty well, and it does hold the humidity longer than paper. I would recommend using this bedding if you already have a type of bedding like Lignocell or anything else. This for me would be the preferred bedding. I've still got animals on some animals on plain paper, and some of my animals on this bedding, just to basically see and get a general idea. I do think it's a great product. I don't believe you're going to get this bedding, it's going to be trouble free, because it's not. You're still going to have to damp it down, as I keep saying. But the one good thing I did notice was if a snake does drop a rodent on top of this bedding, when they pick it back up, it doesn't tend to stick to the rodent. If you've wet the head of the rodent to offer it to your snake, it doesn't tend to stick. And when I used to use a bedding, I was forever seeing hatchlings with bits of bedding sticking out their mouth. Now that was one thing I was very cautious of, and I've been feeding my hatchlings now for, like I said, over 4 weeks, or for around 4 weeks, and I've not seen any of them with bits of bedding sticking out the mouth. So far so good. Cleaning wise and absorption, so a lot of people out there like myself, we don't like to spot clean. We'd rather just take it all, throw it away. And you can do that with this. However, the good thing about this stuff is it will absorb a lot of the mess into the bedding, which then obviously you can pick out the bigger chunks and obviously just throw that away. Its versatility is pretty decent, to be fair. Like I said, it does look good in your racks, but let's face it, it's not about it looking good. It's got to serve a purpose. So that is something you need to consider. With that in mind, I have had a few bad sheds on this, and I have had some really good sheds. So again, we're going to have a look at some animals and see what's what, and see how it's doing. We're just going to pick some random hatchlings, and we'll go and have a look at them now. As you guys are well aware, I have this massive thing with substrate and mites. It's one thing that when I was using substrate back in the day, that I did get mites, and it did come from the substrate. Luckily, not in all the collection, just in some of it. This girl is shed, and we're just going to take a look exactly how it looks from start to finish. Just take away a hide. The secret with this substrate as well, guys, is do not put loads of substrate in there. It does expand, so you need to trial and error for yourself and see what works for you. As you can see, this is a beautiful girl, which I will do a video on soon. Just move her out the way. So as you can see, over here the bedding is dry, and over here the bedding is still damp. However, if you look, the shed is still in little bits in pieces, but majority of that is sort of in one piece. Now she has just shed, so it's pretty nice and soft, but again you can see I've left the poo, if you like, in there, just so you guys can see exactly how it works and what it does. Now what I will say with this stuff, like I said, it does absorb the smell really, really well. And if any of you guys know, when you feed ball pythons, they don't always take the rodent and they drop it and leave it. You come back in the next morning, if you fed them late on the night, or you forgot to check your snakes in the morning, and you go to work and you come back and there's that dead rodent smell. Well, I had a hatchling drop and leave it, and I come back on the evening. Normally that smell on paper or paper towel will be quite noticeable. I didn't notice the smell, so this stuff really does absorb the smell. Whether that be good or bad, that's down to you guys. Like I said, you need to look at the conditions where you keep your animals, whether you keep them in a house or in its own facility. That's something you guys need to be aware of. Okay, so as you can see, we've got shed and we've got some poo over there, but so far so good. I mean, the animals, do they feed better on it? I don't know, you know. I'm not going to stand here and say, oh yeah, the animals feed fantastic on this bedding, because to me they just feed the same. Have I noticed any real improvements? A little bit. What this bedding is good for, guys, if you want a nice bedding or an animal bedding that looks nice and is practical, okay, this is the bedding for you. This bedding, like I said, I don't give you no BS. I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't get endorsed by this company at all. But if I was to use a bedding, which I may continue using this bedding, this is the bedding I would use over any other bedding, Lignosol, all that sort of stuff. So if you guys do want to use a particular substrate, then this is the substrate that I would recommend. And what I'll do, like I said, I'll put a link in the description box to the website, and you guys can have a look. For those people in the UK, Dave at Blood Ball does sell this, and again I'll put a link to his website as well. But you need to remember as well, guys, the other thing is, when you do use this substrate, you will have to raise the temperature of your rack, simply because it is a thicker bedding and the temperature's got to get through the top to the animal where it's going to sit potentially on top. That's why I say to you guys, don't be in a rush to put massive amounts of this stuff in your tubs. Okay, so I hope this helps. If you have any questions, guys, please put them in the comment boxes below, and I will try my best to answer those comments. Like I said, this is a bit of a product review. There's no BS. I'm not getting endorsed by this stuff. I will be using it and see how we get on through the breeding season. I've had a few locks so far with no problems, but again, I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, hope this helps, guys, and I hope you're all well. Take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon.